What does Zyn give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but real freedom. Freedom to do what you love and choose your rewards. With Zyn Rewards, you can redeem points for premium tech, outdoor gear, and gift cards to your favorite retailers. Find your Zyn and keep finding rewards that fit your lifestyle at zyn.com/rewards. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo. I'm particularly worried about today because Greg Cote has just announced that beginning tomorrow begins his vacation. And so I think we're going to get Mail It In Cote today.
Uh-oh.
And
what's new?
That's not particularly new, but maximum Mail It In Cote is a little terrifying. Where are you going on vacation? Do you is it going to be another cruise? Are you going to bump into more things in your car in Ireland?
We are going to an unnamed Western Canadian city. Christopher tried to convince me to spend my entire Canadian vacation wearing a McOver-rated shirt. I declined. But, we love Canada. We love Western Canada. We've been there a couple of times.
Why is the Canadian city unnamed, and why are you now giving regional directions like on a compass telling us it's in the west of Canada, but you're trying to limit what we know?
Okay.
Because you respect people when they say they're going out of town. You don't want them to know exactly where he's going. It seems pretty obvious he's going to Vancouver, though.
Okay, well, maybe not. There's a lot of prominent cities in Western Canada.
Big country.
Yeah, I could be going to Winnipeg. Nobody knows.
That's in central Canada.
Yeah, whatever.
Dan, to your point, the compass. I remember iPhones used to have the compass. I don't think they have the compass anymore. But do we still use compasses? Like, people still have those? They still sell them?
I heard somebody during the Marlins broadcast this weekend talk about Rand McNally. The almanac and maps. Billy, you looked at me funny when I said during the Marlins broadcast, were you surprised that I was watching Otto Lopez have his 27th RBI in 23 games?
No, I was processing the thought that no one uses a compass anymore. Like, people just have given up on trying to figure out what direction they're going in.
Yeah.
The Marlins broadcast was talking about, does anyone use maps anymore? Does anyone know what Rand McNally
TV or radio?
is? It was radio.
Wow. I just got to an age where I figured it out. I think it was after Californication came out, and Anthony Kiedis said the sun may rise in the east, at least it settles in a fine location. Then I figured it out.
So you now don't need a compass at all. You always know just watching the sun. You're like a bit like Columbus. You're like an original explorer. Where
I'm Italian.
You are using simply the sun, and in the event that you get lost in the wilderness, you will know which way you are going because you will need neither map nor compass.
I had a coach that used to do that, and he'd put up his hands, and he would get pretty precise with it. He'd be outside. Obviously, he was a coach, an athletic director. He'd been outside for 4 years, so he was actually good at it. My wife tried to do that one time and tell me, I know what time it is based on the sun. I'm like, you do not know what time it is based on the sun.
No, you can't.
I got a good gauge on that.
You can. She can't. No, she cannot.
Put it on
Fair
the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you tell the time roughly based on the positioning of the sun? Yes or no?
I can. And in fact, they still sell sundials. Google sundial.
That can't be. That
it's
cannot
sundial
be a
over
good
compass.
business. That cannot.
I bet it is.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Selling better these days, compasses or sundials? Because I'm going to go ahead and say that neither one of those are doing terribly well. But I'm thinking, certainly there are compasses on boats, right? Like they're just
GPS
on. They're
now,
just
though.
Yeah. Standard feature, I think.
Yeah, GPS is the cheat sheet for everything now. You don't need to learn. Guy doesn't want to learn. Guy doesn't want to earn when he's traveling.
That's a good point.
I miss the AAA triptych.
Oh, triptychs were the best.
Yeah, I know. We used to get one. They would mark all the construction and everything long before GPS. I'd be driving. My wife would be next to me, flipping the pages, navigating. It used to be great.
Oh, it was the best. You'd say, you know what, we're going to head up to Savannah, Georgia, and they'd give you these big maps. They give you little books, tell you fun places to stop along the way. TripTiks. Dan, you ever go on a road trip?
I miss MapQuest. That's what I miss.
Okay.
MapQuest.
That's fairly recent.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Do you miss MapQuest?
Did you print out your MapQuest?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Too many pages.
No, but TripTik was like the original MapQuest without the internet.
I have no idea what that is. I know MapQuest,
You
and my
haven't
parents.
lived. I feel bad for your
I did
life
live, but-
that it lived without TripTik.
TripTik was a thick book.
Yeah.
You know, you felt like you were getting your money's worth. You spent X number of dollars to be a AAA member.
Exactly
You never got a
right.
flat tire. You didn't need it.
Nope.
But that TripTik, gold.
Oftentimes I called AAA. I lied about trips just to get the books to feel like I was earning my membership.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put a flat, get an intentional flat.
Exactly
just so
right.
you can call AAA.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Howdy, folks. It's Mike Ryan. If you were listening to the show just a couple days ago, you know that Jeremy came up with the top 5 breath of fresh air type of list. A really refreshing feeling. And on that list, Jeremy, help me out.
I mean, that first sip of a Miller Lite at the barbecue on a hot day, crack it open.
That sound,
feelings better.
that sound, ultra satisfying. And then that first sip, it hits. And yes, while it's hot outside as it is presently, it cools your body down. It hits a little different down here in South Florida. But as someone that had Miller Lite north of the border and basically football tailgates as the leaves turn, there really isn't a bad time to turn into Miller time.
Next time we should do a top 5 times to have Miller time.
I like where your head's at because it's every time.
That's right.
Every time. Morning time, well, scratch that.
Nah, morning time.
morning
time if
you're
you
on
need it.
vacation.
If you're on vacation.
If you're on vacation.
If you're at a morning tailgate, there's a noon game.
It's Miller time somewhere. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
You guys aren't going to believe this, but Greg Cote swaggered in here today, and he said that the temperature on Mike McDaniel's is now at high heat.
Yeah, sort of like this studio.
Greg's complaining about the studio as well. I told him he's wearing a long sleeve shirt, and it is summer, but it is a little warm in here.
Should have been here last week when it was boiling hot.
I know, it's ridiculous.
This is nice.
This is nice. Billy wouldn't put on a windbreaker if it wasn't nice in here.
There's more to it than that.
Okay, good contribution.
I didn't want to have friggin' Aquaphor put on my arms again. That every time I'm not wearing a jacket, they lube up our elbows so that they don't look ashy. And then I stick to the table and it's a whole thing. I didn't want it. So I put on a jacket, I'm going to sweat.
Greg, can you tell me why you're placing high heat on McDaniel and you're only placing a moderate heat on Mario Cristobal?
Right. Yeah. McDaniel, in my mind, has to, and this is purely speculative on my part, minimum, he has to make the playoffs to keep his job. Perhaps win in the playoffs to end the embarrassing quarter-of-a-century streak of no postseason victories for Miami. I think he and Chris Greer, it's a season of reckoning for both of their futures.
Would you guys please get for me a list of some of the things that were so the last time the Miami Dolphins won a playoff game? Because it would be something. I mentioned this last week, that the last Dolphin playoff game was blacked out. It wasn't on local television. It hadn't sold out. That's an insanity.
The last home Dolphin playoff.
The last Dolphin. Yes, forgive me. Yes,
yeah, the rules have also since changed, so that's not going to happen anymore.
I'm sorry. No. The last playoff win is what I meant.
Yeah.
Not and it's not a home win. The last win of any kind in the playoffs was 24 years ago, and it was not on television locally. So no one this century has watched on television the Dolphins win a playoff game. And there is a good list that we can put together of things that were so back then, including like a $5 movie ticket.
It was the 2000 season, so this is happy anniversary. This is the silver anniversary of that drought.
And it's crazy to say that. It makes it in a league that legislates equality. rewards bad teams, and keeps things equal through a salary cap. It is a crazy thing to say. Have the Raiders won a playoff game more recently than the Dolphins?
Everybody has. Everybody has in the league.
Is that right?
Yes.
So the Raiders, because you guys think about this. Like, I'm sitting here saying it, I'm like, when the hell is Rich Gannon the last time the Raiders won a playoff game?
I think the Raiders went to a Super Bowl after the Dolphins'
they did.
recent.
So that's the one for the Raiders. The Raiders are Rich Gannon get to the Super Bowl, and that's no, they don't.
They lost because
they lost to Tampa, right?
Gruden knew all the plays.
That's correct. They got blown out because Gruden had coached them. But off the top of my head, the last playoff Raiders team I remember, Tony Siragusa injures MVP Rich Gannon. That's the best Raiders team I've seen.
The BS whistle at Cincinnati. They actually hung tight with I think that Bengals team went on to the Super Bowl. That Bengals team got so lucky throughout the entire postseason. And they made a bunch of big-time field goals, but there was that really controversial play where there was a whistle and it was allowed to play on.
Do you know how crazy it is, though, that I'm watching now as people talk about football, and they continue to say the Bills' dominance of the AFC East. And it isn't that long ago that I watched the Bills go 17 straight seasons without making the playoffs. And now they're dominating the AFC East. The pressure can't be high enough on the Dolphins. Like you have to be playing for jobs this year, and the pressure has to be at the maximum place. But why is it that you're saying that the hot seat is any hotter for him than it is for Mario Cristobal?
Part of it is contractual. Mario still has half of a very lucrative $80 million contract to play out. I don't think they would spend to buy him out, nor do I think they're thinking of that right now. Mike might have more current intel than me, but I think that when the playoffs expanded from 4 teams to 12, it put a clear onus on teams like Miami. All of a sudden, there's a dozen or more, 18 teams in the country who, even if they don't think they're championship contenders, they sure as hell think that they can be one of the top 12 teams. And UM just missed last year. I thought they should have made it at 10-2 before the bowl loss. I think they had a good argument for that 12th spot. They didn't get it. So I think the onus is definitely on Cristobal to be a playoff team, but I don't think if he doesn't make it that he's fired like I think McDaniels might be.
I want to get to Kachuk's wedding in a second. He can't be fired because they owe him too much money.
Right. That's the first thing I said.
So Kachuk's wedding we'll get to in a second, and I do want to get to the Marlins in a second because their road record is as good as 3 division leaders. That's nuts to say that they're as good as Houston, Toronto. It's nuts to say that Toronto is the division leader. The Phillies. And I want to get to some D. Gordon sound in a second. But I was watching something this weekend, and they were talking about the trio of Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman. And I got to thinking, in football, if there are many since then trios that you can mention, okay, because I think Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes had a chance at this, but they didn't stay together, and they only won a couple of times as opposed to what Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman did. Is there another, since Troy, Emmitt, and Michael, anywhere in football, trio that you can look at? Because Tom Brady never had one, right? He had some time with Randy Moss, but it was never like Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James come close, but they only won once. Like, so when you think of greatest trios in the history of football where there are 3 Hall of Famers on a team, does Philadelphia have a chance at putting together?
Philly's a good one. Keep in mind that Colts trio that you outlined didn't actually win. They moved on it. Joe Adai was the running back when they won their first Super Bowl. Philadelphia is a really good one.
Bengals have an outside chance, Dan? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins?
T. Higgins probably feels a bit.
He's talking about running back, too.
Yeah,
right?
I thought you meant quarterback, wide
because
receiver,
if we're going trio,
back.
we're going Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes.
Sure,
boom, done,
but that's no running back.
No, but that's no running back, and also they only won twice, and that would be that's the best I could think of off the top of my head. But I was just thinking of the idea of, like, is that even allowed to exist anymore? Because I don't think we can do it with Philadelphia. We certainly can't do it yet, and I don't know if Michael, Troy, and Emmitt set the standard. We cannot say Kansas City met it, right? right? Because Tyreek Hill left. Like, they could have met it. Tyreek Hill, when they won the first one, said, why can't we win 7 or 8? And imagine that offense. Last year, this is hard. Is this hard to believe for you guys when I say it to you? That the Chiefs won more games last year than any time in franchise history? Because we all thought that team felt like a fraud all season.
Yeah, I recall that. And it did. All those takes did end up coming true. They didn't have the firepower to hang.
But that was the most wins the Chiefs have ever had in a season. Now, granted, they played 17 games and usually played 16 or 14.
If you're not going to give it to Philadelphia, what's a reason? I mean, 1,000-yard receiver. Saquon was damn near MVP. Jalen Hurts was brilliant last season.
Because I don't think Jalen Hurts is a Hall of Famer.
Whoa! He's got a Super Bowl. I think he's on that trajectory. I mean, if you look at Troy Aikman's stats, you could say the very same thing. What made Troy Aikman the Hall of Famer was both the era that he was dominating in, but really the wins.
Well, but you're making A.J. Brown Michael Irvin?
He's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Everybody is with 17 games. I agree with Dan. I don't think they have a receiver who's that level. I mean, to me, if you're replacing the Dallas triplets, you have to be Hall of Fame level.
I'm not trying to replace them. I'm just trying to think of what comes close. Like, obviously, Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, obviously Tyreek Hill. Those three fit the category. In fact, Mike's right. Troy Aikman only threw 20 touchdown passes once in a season. So he got carried a bit over the time period and the era by the fact that he had those two players.
That's about as many as Jalen Hurts got on the ground.
Yeah. But if we're doing the exact parallel, which means the third player has to be a running back, then Philadelphia has, or Kansas City rather, never had that running back to go along with Hill and Patrick.
Playing during a time when the running back is entirely not needed as
right.
well. Like, it doesn't even matter. They can go interchangeably and win titles, as the Patriots
Which is why we got to move the goalpost and say just trios. Then it's for sure right. 3 Canton guys in Kansas City.
Put it on the poll
Mahomes,
at Lebatard Show. Is Jalen Hurts going to be a Hall of Famer? Yes or no?
Don Lebatard.
All right, we got to go back out there. That was big. Wake him up.
He doesn't want to be bothered anymore. Now it's getting tense because he didn't need that as a result. He needs something that happens.
You can see him mother effing. No, he says, "Can we bother? Yes. Are we bothering you right now?"
Turn on your microphone, Greg.
My microphone's on.
Stugotz.
Paint the scene.
Paint the scene is I got to go to work. Good night.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz.
I wanted to talk to Billy about what's going on with the Marlins because, as I said, Otto Lopez, they won the series against the Kansas City Royals. What happened? What was that noise?
Nothing. Go on. There's some minor bone to pick with them, but that's fine. We'll get to it.
What's the minor bone?
Just, the old bait and switch yesterday at Lone Depot Park. I took my family to the Lone because it was Mia the Chicken plush giveaway day. Mia the Chicken, the Great Rooster Race, Dan?
I do not.
You don't know the Great Rooster Race? Oh, my God. It's like the Great Sea Race. You remember the Great Sea Race?
I do not.
You don't remember Julio the Octopus running around in the middle of the game? They would race. You know how like the Nationals have the presidents that race, the great presidents. And then there's the hot dog races. The Marlins, when they opened in 2012, had the Great Sea Race, where they had Spike the Sea Dragon and Julio the Octopus, Bob the Shark, Angel, I think was I don't remember what Angel was, a stone crab or something. They would run around and they would have a race, and Julio would always lose. He was a tough luck loser. And then I think what we heard is that Julio was just so much heavier than all the other sea creatures, and that's why Julio would always lose. But Julio became beloved, and they gave away a Julio, stuffed animal a couple years later. And then when the Jeter regime came in, they did away with the Great Sea Race. Ooh. And we were lacking in-game races until recently, where I believe last year the Great Rooster Race came in. And there was a number of roosters. Charlie's there and Bobby's there. And then there was some other guy. I don't remember who the other guy was. And then they introduced Mia, the rooster. Well, I guess she's not a rooster. Mia, the chicken from Kendall. And that's Mia. You could see on screen right there. There's Mia.
She does look like she's from Kendall.
Mia's become very popular. And yesterday they gave away a Mia plush at the game. And when it was announced first 3,000 fans coming to the game get a Mia plush.
Wow. Everybody gets one.
Wow. So we made it. I actually put it down on my calendar, and I said we got to get there early. We want to get that Mia plush. First 3,000 fans. First of all, 3,000 seems like a very strange number, but Marlins have been hot lately, so we got to get there early. And early we did. We got there very early yesterday. We were there damn near 90 minutes before the game. And then we had an issue. We were parking at someone's house. I haven't told my wife this.
You did no blocking, no parking?
Yeah. No, I like to support the local small businesses, and I park at people's houses, even if it's a burden to me.
How much did you pay?
That's a good question, because the advertised price was $15. I gave the guy a $20, and then we kind of just stood there awkwardly for a little bit of time. And said, okay, thank you, and I went on my way, and I never got any change. But this was an elderly man. We've been doing business together for some time now, and to be frank, he's not what he used to be. So I didn't.
What do you mean by that? Hold on. What do you mean? He's not what he used to be?
Well, the stadium's been open now 13 years. It's 13 years he's aged. In the 13 years that I've known him, and now he seems to have slightly less mobility than he necessarily did there. A little grayer than he used to be, and without putting anyone out, I wasn't going to get into an argument with him. He's a little slower. So I didn't want to argue with this man and confuse him or whatever. So I just, ate it. I said, okay, fine, whatever. You get the $20. So then we start walking down the street, me and my wife and my daughters, in a very hot day. And then his wife or daughter, so I don't know the exact relationship.
It's very important.
These people. But she comes chasing.
It's an important detail in the story.
It's obviously a much younger lady. Dan. I was trying to figure out. Yeah.
Not much younger, somewhat younger. That's why there's confusion. As comes chasing us down the block, and I think, she's going to give us the $5 that we're owed. And that was not the case. It was like, we need you to pull your car a little bit more forward because it's out on the sidewalk, and we might get a ticket from the police if they do that. Which, by the way, I support the bravest or the finest or whatever the police officers are, but they've really made it hard to park in people's houses. They're blocking side streets. It's a whole thing. I used to have my whole routine, and I had my way that I would get in and out, and I faced zero traffic. Dude, now they've blocked it. It's a whole thing. Anyways, so I didn't get the change. We had to move the car, and I was worried that we were going to miss out on the plushes because, again, we had to be part of the first 3,000 fans as was initially advertised. So we get in there, and I'm looking around. I'm trying to figure out which gate is going to have it because I know how are they going to just 4 gates. How do they distribute? One gate's going to get like 750 of these. So we go in. And I have my 2 daughters, and they give us a plush, and then they give another plush, and then I'm waiting there, and they're like, no, it's just for kids. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. We have a party of 8 that was coming to this thing. I wanted 8 Mia plushes here. What I was going to do with 8 of them, I have no clue. That was something I was trying to figure out driving in is how do I get rid of 8 stuffed animals? Do I know any children? Like, what do we do here? Who are we going to give these to? Because 8 of the same thing is excessive. We can all agree on that. Then I look on the thing before I came in, because I had a bone to pick. Before I came out to blast anyone, I checked it, and I saw that it was switched to the first 5,000 kids at some point in time, which was not what was advertised when we got the tickets.
Wow, skullduggery.
Nevertheless, I saw a lot of happy children, so I was glad that they did it. But I also, told our party of 8, you got to get there early if you want those stuffed animals. So then we were just there early for a really long time for no reason. So we did face painting. A good day was had by all.
Again, with a good time was had by all.
It was. It was a loss.
No, it's
a nice little comeback there in the 9th. We saw some people. I met 2 different people that recognized me named Felipe, 2 separate Felipes.
Wow.
It was fun. We took some pictures. Met Billy the Marlin. It was a whole thing.
They were down 7-0.
Yeah.
They won the first 2 games of the series. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Are you respecting the police if you call them, quote, the bravest, finest, or whatever they are?
I don't remember. Them and the firefighters. One's the bravest, one's the finest.
Firefighters.
One gets shot at, one has to fight blazes. They're both brave jobs.
Yep.
But one of them is not known as the bravest, they're known as the finest, and I'm not sure which one.
Also, that was clear from the way you phrased that. Put it on the poll as well at Le Batard Show. Do you know what a chonga is? Because I believe you guys were accusing Mia of being from Hialeah. Also,
I need you to repeat that word.
Yeah, you made it. Yeah.
You made like a. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it sounded chimichangas.
You made it like a. Yeah, it made it like a dance.
From Kendall.
Thank you for that. I've been in this country a long time. So
good plus. You've been in this country your whole life.
Well, no, I've been in and out of this country in parts of Western Canada. So is Bob a good name for a shark as well, is a question that I wanted
Bob the
to
Shark
ask.
was a menace in the Great Series. He would win almost every single race. It wasn't fun. Bob would always win. He was a villain.
Is this Shark Week? Is this week Shark Week?
It started last night.
Okay, this is a very exciting time for me.
Ron McGill hates Shark Week. Terrible.
Why would he hate Shark Week?
Because it portrays sharks for all of the menace and danger and negativity, and he doesn't like that when we refer to animals as monsters, and he thinks animals have a bad rap.
He's a lobbyist for Big Shark.
Yeah, it could be.
Wow. He plays his favorites with the animals. We can agree on that, right? Like, he's not unbiased as far as it comes to animals.
He's biased in general, thinking that all animals get a bad rap, I think, right?
Yeah, he does. By the way, just as an aside, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I have some big news regarding my and Ron's book, The Pride of a Lion. May I say the big news? Because it's exciting to me.
Movie option?
No, not yet.
Paperback?
Not yet. It's come out in an audiobook.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is huge news.
Read by?
It's very read by, I forget the gentleman's name, but he did a great job.
Oh.
Okay, because no,
not Ron?
Listen, I expected Ron to do it, but for whatever reason, they went to a professional narrator.
Why not Christopher?
Where is Christopher?
He's in Las Vegas. He was there for a Backstreet Boys concert at the Sphere. And I think he's coming back tomorrow. I'm not positive.
Backstreet's back, they're saying.
All right.
All right.
Just decided?
Tell me why. Yeah, he Christy, I think, led that, his wife.
But just decided to not come into work today.
Well, he can't do both. It's tough to be at work when
Vacation
you're in
occasionally.
Vegas.
It's the summer.
Unlimited.
It's all right.
Yeah.
You can do vacation and go watch the Backstreet Boys and take a long weekend. That's all right.
Is he coming in tomorrow?
I have no idea. I'm not my son's keeper. He's a grown man.
Is he? But is he? Is he? Because you're not a grown man.
Okay, back to me for a second.
Hereditary.
Yeah, back to you.
Okay.
Big news.
Great flick.
It's totally thrilling to hear a book you've written on audiobook. Like, that was a cheap thrill for me. I listened to the first 2 chapters just to experience it, and it was wonderful. And also, The Pride of a Lion is now being distributed in South America, which is another big step. So
In English or Spanish?
in Spanish.
Nice.
So more than a year after its release, that book has generated enough interest to be republished in a couple of forms like that, and it's very exciting. I'm very proud of that.
It is a failure that Ron McGill did not read that book. That's a disappointment. That would
He would have been great.
Our audience would have bought an audio book read by Ron McGill. It's less of a sales item when you don't have it read by Ron McGill. If you'd read it, our audience would buy the audio book. No matter how good the sound of the professional narrator, the fact that it's not one of you two will sell fewer books, not more.
Do you get a cut of sales? Sorry for asking you. Do you get a cut of sales? Because like right now, if you want on Amazon, it is 77% off. It's $584. So I don't know if that's good for you or bad for you.
Such a deal. Yeah, I don't know the finance.
77% off.
Yeah, $584 right now. So you
don't like that,
it's
Tony?
a bargain.
I don't like that. We need that price to go this way.
I hear that.
77% off is
Basically free.
I mean,
Send it to my house.
Put it on the poll, Juju at Levitard Show. Is 77% off basically free?
That's crazy.
It's also an editor's pick for best nonfiction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I didn't know that. 77 Sunset Strip.
All right, go ahead.
Nothing. I thank Billy for that information. I didn't know it was an editor's pick.
Let me give you some information on some things that were the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game. It was December 30th of the year 2000. Patrick Mahomes, who has 17 playoff wins since, was 5 years old. Andy Reid had 1 year of head coaching experience. Mike Ryan was a freshman in high school. Wikipedia didn't exist. Social media didn't exist. Tua was 2 years old. The iPod didn't exist. Castaway was released in theaters, and I think this is the most shocking one. Greg Cote was 46 years old.
A pup.
Greg Cote was in his spry prime, complaining that his columns were running inside the Miami Herald because me and Edwin Pope were on the front page.
That's true. That was technically before I became a full-time columnist, which I think was in 93. No. Yeah, it was in 95. So I was a columnist, but I was still third string back then.
I remember listening to that Lamar Smith playoff game on the radio.
Yeah.
There was no way to watch it on TV because it was a home game and it was blacked out during the playoffs, which became routine. There was another playoff home game that was blacked out against, I think, Elvis Grbac and the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow. Elvis.
But that was a great moment in time. I had some loyalty to the Dolphins back then because the Browns had just re-entered the NFL, and during that time I was a Dolphin fan. So that was an exciting time around town. Wish I could have seen it. It was a great performance by Lamar Smith.
40 carries. Man, did they run him into the ground.
Their present starting running back hadn't been born. Hadn't been born the last time. He wouldn't know who Lamar Smith is.
No.
He wouldn't have it. H.M. would have no idea who Lamar Smith is.
Nope, not unless he's a historian after the fact.
Dan Le Batard.
My wife says this is a sexy voice.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm hard.
Thank you. Wow.
Stugotz.
So am I, actually. I don't know why.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Let me get for a second here to this D. Gordon sound, because D. Gordon, if you do not remember, was what other details do I need here, Billy? He was a leadoff man for the Marlins. He was brought in and had one very good season for the Marlins.
So D. Gordon was a Marlin. You traded for him. He was part of like the 2015, 16, 17 run of the Marlins. Leadoff hitter, fun energy guy, middle infielder. And he's one of the few Marlins who has won a batting title. Now, after he won the batting title, it was a very exciting season. There were high expectations for D. Gordon the following season. And then much to everyone's surprise, because D. Gordon, seems like he's 5'8", 135 pounds, was suspended for steroid use, which confused absolutely everyone. So D. Gordon was on a podcast recently, and he was talking about the season that he won the batting title and then subsequent season where he was suspended for steroid use.
So, look, I got suspended in 16 for steroids. Look at me, King. It look like I took steroids.
Well, ain't no way.
Okay.
Right, I'm about to say, ain't 165.
Ain't no way. He said 165.
Let me tell y'all, I ain't gonna say no name or nothing, but let me just put it like this. 2015, they told my little black ass, don't win that batting championship. And I said, y'all got me f***ed up.
Damn, so you went out there and said, I'm gonna go get this little championship, this trophy.
And they said, don't do it.
Was it like a money thing for them?
Nah, it was a guy. I ain't gonna say his name. He would have won Triple Crown if I let him win the batting title. The last day of the season, I beat him for the batting title. I went 3 for 4 with a home run.
I'm trying to see
I ain't saying
King can say it.
I mean, it'll be easy.
If it's what I'm thinking of,
he won MVP that year.
They didn't like that.
They called me a week before. They
didn't like that.
And I was like, man, I'm from Avon Park, bro.
You hear me? He said, I'm from Avon Park.
That is strange that he wouldn't mention Bryce Harper the way that Greg Cote wouldn't mention where he's vacationing in Western Canada.
That's true.
He also wouldn't mention who they is or the fact that he gained 13 pounds in that offseason, which is roughly 8% of his entire body weight.
Yeah, the mystery of they might be the big issue here, I think.
Is there going to be anyone who believes anything he's saying there? Because if you look at D. Gordon, I think there was another. Well, you can't do this visually because I remember a pitcher, Guillermo Mota. I think he was for the Dodgers. He was a string bean. Like you can't do this based on muscles or even 13 pounds of weight gain. But nobody would have thought. D. Gordon famously couldn't hit home runs. D. Gordon produced one of the most magical moments for the Marlins this century because he hit a home run immediately after Jose Fernandez died, and he never hits home runs. Find for me how many home runs D. Gordon hit for the Marlins.
Everybody was surprised when the first person to get caught under MLB's performance-enhancing policy was, I think, this outfielder from Tampa Bay, Alex Sanchez, and he was rail thin. But again, the rail thin guys, it's always deceptive. And then you realize, wait, what did they play at the year before they got pinched? And then it all makes sense. Oh, he was just small to begin with.
Guillermo Mota also was surprisingly large. He was 6'6". He weighed 240, but he was 6'6", which is why he was thin.
Tall, but I don't believe that listing of 240. I don't believe it because if I show you a photo of Guillermo Mota, you will see that is not a person who looks like he is on steroids.
D. Gordon hit 7 home runs as a Marlin.
That sound, incidentally, was from the Raw Room podcast. We should start crediting people when we use their sound.
I would also say that I'm not questioning whether or not that story is real to D. Gordon, but his recollection of the name he wouldn't mention possibly winning a Triple Crown was slightly off in that Bryce Harper hit 330 that year. He hit 333. He was tied for home runs with 42. but he only had 99 RBI where Nolan Arenado had 130. So he would have had to have a very big last day of the season to win the Triple Crown.
Oh, liar!
Okay, so there it is. That would seem to be an untrue story that D. Gordon was telling.
I mean, come on, memories. You know how they go. All of a sudden you remember, he had 40 some odd home runs. He had some odd 99 RBIs.
Yeah, Raw Room got to set that record straight.
Oh.
I hate to say it, but you can't let a guy get away with that. Somebody got to step up and say, he lost the RBI race by 31. But if you tie, because this happened to Carl Yastrzemski in 1967, my original hero.
Yes.
If you tie for home runs, you still get the Triple Crown.
Tell us more about your original hero, Carl Yastrzemski.
I mean, in 1967, the impossible dream. You know, Greg Cote is 12 years old, going on 13. It was my entree into loving sports, into loving baseball. I was from Massachusetts. I went to a few games as a kid at Fenway after the fact because we moved there when I was 3. But Yaz was my first hero along with Willie Mays. I had an AL guy and an NL guy. The Say Hey Kid and Yaz were both my heroes. And years later, when a feminine product named itself Yaz, I was very, very upset. Nothing against feminine products, but they were usurping the name of my childhood hero, which I didn't like to this day. I hope the product I'm listing has gone out of business. But that's a diversion from what I'm talking about. Everybody's got a magical.
Sure is.
Everybody's got a magical hero. Mine in 1967, Yaz, son of a potato farmer. This guy, that's also, I read the Yaz book. First book I ever read as a kid, other than assigned books in school, was Yaz, the potato farmer's son. And that wasn't the title of it, which would have been funny. But, you know, I've always had a place in my heart for Yaz. He's now in his late 70s. He's iconic, but yet he's a recluse. He's not one of the 45 to 50 Hall of Famers invited every year, living Hall of Famers invited every year to Hall of Fame weekend, which is in a few days. Never shows up. Dropped completely out of sight, in good health, as far as I know, because his grandson Mike is now in the big leagues, and I've seen them photographed together within the past couple of years. So God bless Yaz.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. He's winded from how much he's carrying the show.
I'm sweating.
Carrying the show so far. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard, at Le Batard Show. Did you know that Yaz was a feminine hygiene product?
He's also almost 90, Greg, not in his late 70s.
Really?
You're almost in your late 70s.
Wait a minute. Yaz is almost 90?
He's 85.
That would make sense.
You're right. I did know he was in his 80s. That was a misspeak by me.
I will also say that the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, because he mentioned that he's hoping that Yaz is now out of business. In the time since the Dolphins won a playoff game, iTunes was formed and then died. So the entire lifespan of iTunes has happened in the time since the Dolphins last won a playoff game. Which did you like best from among all of those stats? Tua was 2 years old. Mike Ryan was a freshman. Achane hadn't been born. Social media didn't exist. Wikipedia didn't exist. That's a lot. And Greg Cote was 46 years old.
That's my favorite one.
That's still the best one?
That's beyond comprehension.
Are you sure social media didn't exist in 2000?
Yeah,
for sure.
It did not.
Is that true?
100%.
That surprises me.
The most social media thing that we had was AOL chat rooms.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I guess GeoCities message boards, but no real social media.
I think I would vote for that one. That surprises me.
Mike, why did you get beat by TMZ Sports on the big giant story that the Cavender twins were getting breasts? The TMZ Sports.
Why did I get beat on that?
They had that already.
That was my beat. The Cavender twin breast augmentation. Others can have that scoop. Go right ahead.
Let's play for the people the video here. It doesn't have audio of the Tkachuk wedding. The Tkachuk wedding. Matthew Tkachuk is here, and
also, is it a scoop if they just take a selfie video saying, "Hey, we're getting boobs"?
That is Keith Kachuk being lifted. Are there shirtless people there? Tell me about, his belly's coming out from under the dress shirt under there.
Big Walt.
Oh, my God. A hockey wedding. I can't even imagine how much fun those people. A champion hockey wedding. Kachuk's wedding with all his teammates there. What kind of lunacy was that thing?
Just the Kachucks. Just the Kachuk family being there. I'm sure it's a rager. And this is a nice little opportunity to say that before this run all started, Keith Kachuk, Matthew Kachuk's father, gave an interview, and he basically called out the entire team, including the head coach, Paul Maurice, for being soft.
The music in the background in that video was Pink Pony Club, which was the celebratory music that the Edmonton Oilers played.
Oh, that's a good song.
We took that.
Chapel Roan.
Yeah, we took that song.
Good job. Thank you, Billy.
The only thing you took.
The headline of that video, by the way, was 6 Panthers injured lifting 270-pound man.
Wow, it's a little heavier than his playing days, no doubt. As a Panther fan, it did warm the cockles of your heart watching Brandon Montour and Ryan Lomberg there. A bunch of former teammates still a part of the core nucleus that still, by all accounts, that is a very close team. And we wonder to see what's going to happen with Matthew Kachuk. Reputable reporters are out there saying there's no way he plays at the start of the season. I think there's going to be this is the last year that they can do it, manipulate the cap a little bit, have him wait to get his surgery.
You would not need him all season. Why would you play him all season? You could get all your players healthy. The thing that the Panthers can do, and this seems insane to say, it seems like a truly insane thing to say, but of all the crazy things they did in architecture, of going from a team that was the best they had in offensively in the history of the sport, was it not, during the regular season? And certainly in Panthers history, they blow that up because that can't play in the playoffs, and they have proven over the last 2 years that they can absolutely find an elevated place to play and can coast through the regular season like a basketball team, where they don't have to worry about whether their seeding is 1 or 3rd. They could go load management with surgeries and everything else. Because they can only do it for 1 more year, but they can do it for 1 more year.
Well, as far as Kachuk is concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if he got surgery because he's aiming to play in the Olympics in 2026 in Milan. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got surgery.
Well, there is also the little nugget that came out from guys that cover the league really well, that he actually tore his groin, not playing, in the fight with Brendan Hagel. Mm-hmm. The iconic 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. That fight appears to be where Matthew Kachuk got hurt.
I mean, that dude, the last 2 playoffs, has been out there like a torso on skates.
2 of the last 3. He definitely had that sternum injury, came back, had a game-winning assist, and the only win that the Panthers had in their history in the Stanley Cup final up until that point. Just one of the gutsiest performances ever. And he was very clearly Florida's best player in year 1 of their run. Last year, I know he was hurt, but in terms of effectiveness, and he came on a little bit later in the playoffs, probably top 7 contributor. This team was so deep, so good. You have a pretty natural offensive-minded forward in Mackey that can come in and pick up some of that productivity.
Okay. An asinine thing to say, even though it's so. Asinine. That maybe the best trade in South Florida sports history netted what was their 7th best player last year. And I ask you this, Roy, because even though he's a young player and they've got him in the middle or at the beginning of an 8-year contract extension, he's small, and once the body starts breaking in a number of places, it often breaks in a number of more places. Do you expect Kachuk to get back to what it is that we once saw from him at the very start of all this? Because he's been, and I don't even blame him. It's the sport, it's how he plays it, and it's his size, so I understand, but his body's breaking down.
I'll hand it over to Roy. I think his reputation and his stars kind of outshined even his own performance, even though he's still a very good player, a very good American player. I don't think he's the better of the 2 Kachuks. I think there's even a considerable gulf between the 2, but I think Matthew Kachuk will age well in that the injuries are a conversation, and yes, he's got a smaller frame, but this is not a player that's ever really relied on his athleticism. He's very slow.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the slowest skater in the league, really.
But because you could make an argument that he's the best American player with that personality, that makes him that's half of his stardom, is being American and having a great personality.